Hi, I'm Chris and welcome to my channel. This time on Handyman at Home we're going to be assembling a wheelie bin worm farm. Hope you enjoy. To make my wheelie bin worm farm I'm using the DIY kit from the Urban Worm. I paid £47 plus shipping at the time of making this video, February 2023. Okay, let's have a look what's inside the box. First we've got a brick of coconut coir and a smaller one of manure. Luckily it's dry. We've got some what look like for sale signs, but they're part of the inside. Then we've got the pieces that form the gate or the flap to lift up to get to your compost, a drain tap and some fixings. A sticker, worms and peace. Some instructions, and a template to cut out, make the shape of our inside pieces, and a handy bag for the Urban Worm. Step 1 is to drill 3 air holes on the right, back and left hand sides. Instructions say use a hole saw, but don't tell you the diameter. Having measured the size of the tap, it looks about 25mm or 1 inch. I don't have a hole saw that size, so I'm going to start off with a small drill, and then I'm going to open it out with a Forstner bit, which I just happen to have. I've got a piece of wood here that's approximately 10 centimeters deep. I'm going to use that as a rough guide. Doesn't have to be perfect, it just gives a good idea of where the hole should be. So as I say, doesn't have to be perfect, they don't have to be even, they're only worms. Right, now with a 25mm Forstner bit instead of my hole saw, I'm going to use those little pilot holes just to start me off. There we go. 3 25mm holes. I'll tidy them up a little bit with a file, but apart from that they're fine. I'll now do the back and the other side. I've put 4 air holes on each side. It's a large bin. One on the front, the other side, and 3 on the back. Okay, now we need to fit the drain approximately 5 centimeters up from the base. Again, I'm using pilot drill to start with, and then I'll do the main hole with a Forstner bit. There we go. If you're not sure about the size of your hole saw or Forstner bit, get the tap and compare it like so. It should just allow the tap to go through, but not be too wide. Okay. Having given this some thought, I think that hole is very close to the bottom. If you look at when the tap would be on, there's almost no clearance to the floor, which is going to make it very difficult to get a bowl or a tray underneath it to catch the liquid. So in this case I'm going to move it up slightly. I can't go too far now because I've drilled a hole. I'm going to go a little bit further up and drill the hole. It gives a little bit of clearance, still not very much. So let's have a look. Roughly about there, I think. It's only another centimetre, but it might help. Now with the Forstner bit, this time in the upper hole. There we go. Let's see how that fits. Perfect. We'll fit that a little bit later on once we've got the flap fitted. Okay, now to fit the hatch door. The instructions say draw around the inside of the widest bracket. That's not quite clear, I don't think. If you look at them, it's not very clear what they mean by the widest bracket, but I think it's this one, which has the thicker arms, if you like, compared to this one. I think we go like so. However, at this point I would say make sure your wheelie bin doesn't have a curved face, because that's going to make it quite difficult to open the flap. This is the only wheelie bin I've got and we've started, so we'll carry on. Hopefully we can make it work. So put this to one side, and then we need to measure up about 20 centimetres from the base. So that's out there. And then trying to keep it level. And I suppose with a groove here that's helping me, although it may cause us problems later. Draw around the inside. So across the bottom there. Up the side. Hopefully we'll be able to see the pencil marks. Yeah, just about. There are 8 holes we need to mark and then drill. If like mine, you may need to pop out some of the plastic from where the holes are, as it's not been pushed out all the way. So, I'll lay the bracket along the line that we drew, and either using a sharp tool or a marker pen, mark the holes as you go. There you go. Okay, again using a pilot drill, I'm going to drill to the 8 hole positions. Yeah, just checking. Yeah, that's good. Now the bolts provided to mount the bracket look about 5mm in diameter, so I'm going to use a 5mm drill bit to widen those holes out. Let's just try it. Yeah. There we go. All in. Now you see I've gone over the pencil lines with a black marker. Helps when we're going to cut it out. I've also gone around the inside about 5mm in all the way around, as I think a little bit smaller aperture will make sure we don't have any problems when we're sliding the hatch cover up and down. That's just my view, and we'll see how it works out. So I put a little pilot hole just in the corner. I'm now going to drill it out with a wider bit, so now I can get the jigsaw blade in and we can cut around the inner line. Okay, with my jigsaw, put it in. It's going to be noisy. This is quite a sharp edge now, so I'm just going to use a little bit of sandpaper just to take the sharpness off the edge there, just in case you catch your hand when you're taking the worm compost out. That's better. Feels alright now. You may find when you come to put the bolts in, the holes are still a little tight. So in my case, I'm going to open them out with a 6mm drill. Should make fitting of it a little easier. Okay. Each set of brackets has some polythene on the back. Just take that off, and then we position the bracket with the thinner legs, and then on top the bracket with the thicker legs. It's going to allow the hatch flap to slide up and down. So let's get a couple of the bolts in to start with. So with a washer and a nut, it'll be a little fiddly to start with, but once you've got it on, it's okay. Let's get the second one. Okay. Around and just pop all the remaining bolts in. See how it all lines up. As I said earlier, having a flat front on the bin is probably key, and in retrospect this bin is not really suited to fit in this flap, but we're going to persevere and we'll make it work, but you'll see that it's a little difficult, and if that aperture had been even narrower it would have been impossible. So it's worth checking that before you purchase your kit. Last bolt. Okay, let's just try a quick. It's going to be very difficult, that. Oh no, maybe not. Yes, that could be a problem. Maybe have to put something on the front there to pull it out. But we'll tighten all these bolts up and then have a look at that. Right, I've got the brackets fitted now. Bolts are still just finger tight. I've put the flap in just to try it, and I found it was quite tight at the top. So I've cut off about 2mm on each edge with a sharp knife. That's made it a little bit easier to move up and down. You may not need to do that. This bracket is slightly uneven because of the recess that it's had to fit in, so I've had to accommodate that, but it seems to be working okay. So we're going to tighten up the bolts now. You can do this by hand. If you're going to use a drill driver, put it on a low setting. We're not trying to put the fourth bridge together. I've also got a little spanner which might help hold the nuts in position. If I use the right end, that is. So we fitted the brackets, tightened the bolts up, put the flap in. Now, as I've explained earlier, it is a little tight, but I think over time it will ease. And we're not going to be opening it every day, because that's just when you take the compost out. But we'll see how it goes. Said it before, flat fronted bin is essential. Okay, we'll put the drain tap in now. So it's got a little seal on the front, a nut. Actually, yes, there are two seals, one for the front and one for the back. So feed that through. Afraid you can't see what I'm doing, but basically you need to put the seal on the back of the tap and then feed the nut on. I think you can just about get it tight enough using your hand. Yeah. Don't use that as the lever because it might snap it. Just turn it by the body. It's not quite straight, but I don't think the worms are going to care. There we go. As I said before, it's very close to the bottom, but we'll just have to manage, and that's what the instructions say. Okay, now we have to cut out the template to go inside the bin. Our bin doesn't say what the volume is, but looking at this, it looks like it's a standard 240 litre bin. So I'm going to cut out that shape and try that. Now you can't see that, but it does look like it fits. So we're going to use that to cut out on one of the for sale signs. That will give us the base for the worms and the compost to sit on. So using the template, I cut out the basic shape from the for sale sign. Of course it doesn't fit exactly, so some adjustments to be made. Again, can we throw this bin away, do you think? Some indents here, one at the back. It's not perfect, I'll take a shot a little bit later when it's finished, but it'll do, and it's reasonably snug. Now we have to take the remainder of the template, cut out from the second for sale sign, and form 5 triangular legs which are going to support the base on which the compost forms. Here you can see the template drawn onto the for sale sign. So I've got 5 strips, each of 10 centimeters wide, and then a little notch down on the bottom corner for each one. I found it easier just to measure it out looking at the template rather than laying the paper template on it and tracing around it. But that was just what I found. So now I'm going to cut those out and form them into the 5 triangular legs. Okay, so now we have 5 triangular legs formed from each of those strips cut from the for sale sign. A little bit fiddly I found to do the first one, but after that it became a little bit easier. So they're about 10 centimeters high, and they're going to go something like that in the base. So we'll put those in. We'll organise them a bit better than that. I've also drilled some holes in the base. The template shows a lot more holes and much bigger holes, but we decided to put fewer holes and smaller diameter. we'll see how it goes. We can always add more. Okay, we've got the 5 legs in. Couldn't get one in the middle because of the raised section, but hopefully that's okay. So there you have it, the Urban Worm Wheelie Bin Worm Farm. All we need now are the worms. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe and comment. See you on the next one.